Hello, my franchises refuse to grow up and it's pissing me off now. Everyone likes a franchise, even if you say you don't, there's one that you like. Maybe it's Lord of the Rings, maybe it's Spider-Man, maybe it's Star Wars, like a fucking freak. Point is, everyone's got a franchise they like, but the problem that I've noticed in the past about 15 to about 20 years now, is that we've gotten to the point where these franchises solely have to rely on brand recognition and what is expected from their audiences, and that's pretty much it. Anytime that they divert or try to do something new, it will almost always fail. You know, of course I say that, and there's been tons of stuff out there that have been tied to existing franchises and have been original in their own way. Spider-Verse, for instance. I want to say the Lego Movie, but that's the same team. The Last Jedi. There's so many other things that have taken a franchise that we've expected and have done something new with it. Anything, really. And yes, this is partly about the Life is Strange trailer, but it's really just something that's been on my mind for years now. That franchise in particular pisses me off because it has so much possibility, so much untapped potential. As an anthology that could be about completely new areas and new worlds, helmed by new teams each installment, just constantly shaking it up, constantly offering something new, and yet they've just been tapping right back into that Max and Chloe well for the entire time. I say they as in the second developer to helm the Life is Strange series, Deck 9, who, mind you, their very first game with the Life is Strange IP was a prequel all about Chloe. And then sure, they went on to make True Colors, but then they went right back to that well with Double Exposure. And granted, I haven't played Double Exposure, mostly because I didn't want to rush myself through 2 and True Colors just to get to that game, and it wouldn't feel fair to any of them. But with the announcement of a sequel called Reunion that is now not only has Max returning, but Chloe as well, I fear that my interest is in the fucking gutter. Like, sure, maybe there's some super interesting plot that they could do, playing with our perception of time as well as our memories. For all I know, this game could completely shake up what we understand as the narrative game. Or, hear me out, Deck 9 really needs this game to sell. I have no opinion on Double Exposure since I have not played it. However, from what I've seen from actual reports, it didn't sell all that great. And this is why it's so important to not just read, but to question your stances. Because if you were uninformed, it'd be easy to say, oh, these creators are hacks, they don't know what they're doing, yada yada yada, and it's never ever that simple. You see that happening with the Stranger Things fans right now, when really, there's usually a lot of moving parts at play. The reliance on not just pre-existing IP, but iconography and even story beats that have happened before is more than likely caused by rising budgets, which ultimately means that there has to be rising profits as well. How do you get people into seats? You give them what you think that they want, even if it's not what they really want. Sure, it's been 11 years since that first Life is Strange game. Let's make a game called Reunion where Max and Chloe are back together. Yeah, fine, except how is it a reunion if we never fucking left? I'm also seeing this with Lara Croft. Another franchise that I love that has a terrible rap on the internet, but that's because people suck. Lara Croft has another live-action reboot in development at Amazon. Who asked for that? Trick question. Nobody. The first 2 live-action incarnations were perfect representations of what Lara Croft was at the time at the franchise. She was a schlocky Indiana Jones, then she turned into a Nathan Drake-esque hardened action hero. And now, I don't really know what she is because the franchise has lied dormant since Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And sure, the show is probably being made to tie into the 2 new games that are being developed by Crystal Dynamics, but it just doesn't feel like it's being made because somebody believes in Tomb Raider. It doesn't feel like it's being made because there's somebody passionate behind the screen. It feels like it's being made because The Last of Us did really well. And it's like, it's so frustrating. Also, don't even get me fucking started on Star Wars, man. I've never seen a franchise that has so much new stuff, so many things that try to go in new directions, only for Bob Iger himself to grab the wheel and just put it back towards the original trilogy. Within the span of less than 10 years, there were 2 scenes that were exactly the fucking same. The Vader scene in the hallway and the Luke scene in The Mandalorian, and they were both fucking dumb. I get it. I like wish fulfillment. I liked it in theory, but realistically, what the fuck does this offer me? Scratch that. The Luke scene actually worked. Not for the reasons that the fans think that it does, but for the reason it works inside of the story. If I have to give a percentage for my enjoyment, Luke being there is probably like a 10, maybe 20% out of why I enjoyed that scene. The other 80 is the actual story itself. Seeing the bond between Din and Grogu grow until they've effectively become father and son, only for Din to have to come to the conclusion that his adopted son might be better off somewhere else, not with him. And it makes for the saddest season finale in most of Star Wars. I haven't seen all of the Star Wars shows, I can't say that definitively. But yeah, man, that's peak Star Wars. All this other stuff, Skeleton Crew, Acolyte, dog shit. What? And I feel like I have to preemptively defend myself because it's the internet in 2026. All we do is preemptively defend ourselves from people who are never going to listen to the point at fucking all. Nonetheless, I'm not saying that original stuff is always good and stuff related to IPs are bad. That's ridiculous. I love all the Spider-Man movies. However, when the budgets are so high, when the margins to have a profit on any sort of project are fucking ridiculous, when the time you have in the limelight for a project you spent years and years on only to be shorter and shorter, it's hard to not feel cynical about this stuff. But in the end, because I will ultimately always have hope at the end of the day, that just means that you have to talk about the stuff you enjoy all the more. I've been on Avatar TikTok for the past couple of days, and while I fucking despise that app, and I'm constantly 2 seconds away from uninstalling it, that has made me feel true joy. Not just seeing the movie and thinking about it on my own, but getting involved in discussions. The sort of thing I never really did as a teenager. The next 2 Star Wars projects are quite literally completely unrelated to the main line of films or the Skywalker saga. Fucking hate that name, by the way. Horse shit. Also, too many people have made it their entire job on the internet to completely shit on things like the projects I've talked about in this video solely because it makes them money. And that's fucking lame. Over here, we hate for the right reasons, not for bullshit ones. Maybe Life is Strange Reunion will be good. I'm not trying to rob it the chance that it could really resonate with me, maybe. I'm just saying that in a world full of so much possibility, to go back to the same well over and over again until it's completely dried up feels like a waste of time. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll see Max and Chloe in the fucking old folks home in the year 2054. What would you like, Grandma? Applesauce or oatmeal?